As a recruiting class that was ranked, and I'm looking at the stats now, number 5 by Blue Star, number 13 by Prospects Nation, number 15 by Hoop Girls, and number 23 by the All-Star Girls Report. So by all accounts, a very heralded recruiting class, and you kind of alluded to that last week. Now you can talk about them specifically, so kind of introduce the fans to the crop of kids that you signed this year.
Yeah, the 2015 class is super exciting, as was the 14 class as well. Another class of 5 young ladies. So next year we're going to have 10 youngsters, 5 freshmen, 5 sophomores. So that should be quite interesting.
Right.
But a talented group of players. Led by Lauren Brzezowski. She goes, her nickname is Boogie, which is kind of interesting. She got that on the playgrounds in New York City. So she's a New York City point guard. Has a little swag to her game. I've been watching her play, actually, since she's been in elementary school because she lived a couple miles from St. John's where I used to coach. So I've been watching her play since she's been real young, and she was one of the first calls I made when I got to the University of Michigan. And great student, really valued the Michigan education and wanted an opportunity to come out here. So committed, a bunch of these kids committed super early because they really believed in our vision. And speaking of that, our assistant coaches did a tremendous job really recruiting these kids and connecting with their coaches from a young age. This class, we really were able to start recruiting as soon as we got to Michigan, which is, over 2 years ago. So we've recruited them for a pretty long time. Our last recruit in that class is a young lady named Hallie Thome. And we had, she was actually recruited to Michigan before I even got there. So Michigan started recruiting her when she was in the 8th grade.
Wow.
And when I got the job, the old Coach Sporseth, and I had talked a number of times, he immediately told me about her. So he gets some credit for this too. Yeah, but that's kind of the coaching circuit, and that was great. And he said, her mom is from the state of Michigan, but she lives in Ohio. So it came down to, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan State. And she chose us. So she's a 6'5" kid. We haven't had a 6'5" young lady in our program in quite some time. She is a great, great basketball player. She's actually a twin, and her sister committed to Ohio University. Her brother plays college basketball as well. But she is just going to give us a dynamic that we haven't had here in a long time, to have a 6'5" presence. So that's pretty exciting. Another big that we brought in is a 6'2" young lady named Samantha Trammell. She's from Minnesota, actually the same neighborhood as Kate Thompson, a player for us that graduated a couple years ago. And she grew up kind of watching Kate and also wants to go to medical school, very similar to Kate. So really, as soon as, we started recruiting her, she contacted Kate, came here, had a chance to sit down with Kate and talk about the academic piece, went over to the hospital, really investigated that. A great player, 6'2", gives us some size and some strength inside out of Minnesota. Our next young lady is Naomi Davenport from down in the Cincinnati, 2 Ohio kids, pretty exciting, from down in the Cincinnati area. Her 2 brothers played college basketball as well. Both of her parents have played college basketball. She's a 6-foot wing, really could shoot the 3, rebounds the heck out of the ball, has a great motor, great toughness about her. So she's going to give us some great length on the wing spot as well. And then the last player is a young lady named Nicole Munger, who is from the Philadelphia area. She's about a 5'11" shooter, can really shoot the basketball extremely well, but plays incredibly hard, tough, great leader, reminds me a lot of Nicole Elmblad and Jenny Ryan, just has really great character, great toughness about her. The entire class is just, we're super excited because they're great basketball players, but they're even better kids. And just to have an opportunity to bring great students, great basketball players from incredible families into our program is super exciting. And our staff, our current players, are really excited about that class and them getting on campus. And they've had an opportunity to get to know them as well. They've been up a number of times during the course of the last couple of years.
Outstanding stuff, Coach, on an outstanding class, a lot of length, a lot of skill, and to come with that class on the heels of the one last year, which we're seeing those players now, is extremely impressive. But we know people want to focus on the here and the now. Want to talk about, you got Pitt coming up on Thursday. Folks, your next opportunity to see the Michigan women's basketball team will be this Sunday, taking on Western Michigan at the Chrysler Center at 2 o'clock. And, Coach, I know better than to ask you about the team ahead of the next team that you're going to play, so we'll just talk to you next week after you take on Pittsburgh and Western Michigan.
That sounds great, Sam. Thank you, as always.
All right, thanks, Coach. That was Michigan women's basketball coach Kim Barnes Arico.